Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Shazam spoilers review, the Geekverse. We don't know what number episode this is because we're recording this like 3 weeks in advance. We saw early screening. So if you still haven't seen the movie, our non-spoilers review is up. You can go check it out if you clicked on the wrong one. But until then, I am the... I still want to give a spoiler nickname because I know there's some fucker that's still listening to this, doesn't know they're at the spoilers one. I'll just go with the Clown Prince of Podcast, DC related. That's my nickname. Good old Trash Snail.
I'm the one whose name you say to turn into this, Jessica.
Boom.
I'm the Hadouken, Taylor Field.
Boy.
That totally goes with what this review is about.
So if you want to check out our non-spoilers review, we gave kind of a base thoughts of who liked it, who didn't, what we thought. I think Taylor and Jessica were more positive on it. They seemed to like it. I was a little disappointed, but I still thought it was a kind of a win for DC. I don't think it's a bad movie. Where do we want to start with spoilers? And this is your 3, 2, 1. If you're on the wrong review, now we're going to spoilers. Taylor, because you said there's a lot of things you wanted to touch on.
The beginning here, I'm just going to lay it out like...
is this back to your, if you listen to non-spoilers, back to the
brothers thing.
The brothers thing?
Yeah, if you're brothers, and you watch this, they treat, like the dad and the older brother treat the little kid like shit. They blame everything on him. Like, that's totally
Was
caught
that
me
your
off guard.
life?
No, not at all. No,
Just
my
wanna
older
make
brother's
sure.
way older.
I thought that he had some like kinship there when he saw it.
No, but that totally caught me off guard. I didn't really know that was it. I realized, okay, this is the villain, but like it just blew my mind how like the dad gets flung from the car and then the brother gets out. He's like, "You did this." I'm like, "What the fuck?"
No, he did do it.
He didn't do anything.
He was
just
talking crazy, made them crash.
Well, I don't blame him. They treat him like shit, He's just shaking an 8-ball, and they're like, "No toys." It's just a little 8-ball.
Yeah, no, we can start there because you randomly brought us to this fucking car scene. I will start with the villain. The opening to me was actually a little too long. I thought we could have been a lot quicker. It just dragged for like the opening of the movie before the credits are there or the title. I was surprised. So the villain, we talked about it. I think were kind of mixed to semi-positive. I liked the origin stuff. I was like, okay, he has a bad relationship with his dad and brother. He's seen this wizard, Shazam, and that's the other thing I'll base. I didn't say non-spoilers. I've never been the biggest Shazam fan either, so maybe you can take that as my bias not liking it. I've always not been into like the wizard stuff. I think that's kind of hokey. If I go over my wizard fix, I'm gonna go to Harry Potter and whatnot. But I think they do it good enough. So anyway, Dr. Savannah, when he's a kid, he sees this wizard and he's all about trying to get back to that world, and then he does, and he gives Shazam this big speech. But then I think after that, he's just kind of like, what is his plan? Just to destroy the champion and then what? Take over the world, probably?
Well,
I imagine?
he felt like he was, he should have been entitled. He could be good enough to get the magic.
That's what I mean. It's pretty...
Yeah, but what then? What after that?
Well, obviously, he didn't think that far ahead. The demons were telling him what to do.
Well, the thing was he had to destroy the champion, right? So then it's like, but yeah, exactly after that.
I just want to know what was that hand signal that you...
Like the champion.
I've never seen people do it towards themselves.
Yeah, I don't know why I did it. Come here. But yeah, that's why it's pretty much just like he has. What do you guys think about the 7 deadly sins? Because I'm not a big Shazam fan, but I know the basics. I know that. I know Shazam family. So what do you think? Because they didn't show any of that in the trailers, these like monster-like creatures. How do those guys work out for you?
So that's normal, like in the comic book. That's what.
Yeah, they are an entity. I don't think they're always bopping around, but they are one of Shazam's foes or key kind of bad guys or whatnot.
I think that it wasn't super obvious. There was a few that were obviously like gluttony.
Mm-hmm.
You can tell the guy whose freaking entire body turns into a mouth.
Poor guy.
But other than that, some of them I had a hard time trying to distinguish. So I don't know if that's going to come up later and play a bigger part into the specific sins. But I know this one, it didn't necessarily matter if you could tell what sin was what. But
they're pretty generic looking. They're pretty like dark and gray, with red eyes. They didn't have much going. I appreciate those times as when the movie got the darkest, because I think that boardroom scene is pretty scary if kids are watching this, because the way they shoot that, and the guy who directed this movie, David Sandberg, he did Lights Out, and he did Taylor's favorite, Annabelle Creation, or one of his favorites. So
what was that?
Annabelle Creation he did.
Oh, yeah.
So he's a horror director. Oh, yeah. He's a horror director, so I thought that was him kind of flexing his muscles there in the horror world. So I liked that. I don't know if it was too dark. I'd have to watch it with a kid, but I thought it was pretty dark for the rest of the movie. That was the tone of that part. I just thought it was that moment when they're all just running up to the window and they're just getting taken away by these big hands. I'm like, I'd be scared in my mind if I
When
was
you
a kid.
say watch
probably.
it with a kid, you mean you're gonna take a kid to it and just watch the kid throughout that scene and what they do?
I mean, I'm never gonna do this. I would just like a kid's opinion of like, were you scared by that?
Oh,
When when my daughter's with me in the theater, luckily I can no longer be like, if I had a kid there, I can say, oh, this is what Gwen thought. But the difference is she's living with me, who's like, I grew up on horror stuff.
too bad
So-
you can't get those kids that reviewed Batman Returns.
Oh God, what a deep pull.
What?
What a deep pull.
Deep hole?
Yeah.
What do you mean?
It's something that no one else would know except for you and me, because we watched a video where there's after Batman Returns, they had a bunch of kids on a talk show talking about how it was so scary and it like scarred them for life.
Oh yeah, I know. That's why I said this to you, because you would.
That's why I said it was a deep pull though, because no one else knows this.
I've never heard the term.
We're
God.
so off topic here.
Yeah, let's get back to the villain. Jessica, anything to add now that we're in spoilers on the villain?
So I want to start out. So when the movie first started, so I recently finished Smallville a couple months ago, and yeah,
Just sing the theme
exactly.
song. Just sing the theme song.
You were looking good. And so Lionel Luthor
Mm-hmm.
is actually the dad in that car. And when I first saw him, I was super excited. I was like, I am stoked to see you like be in this movie. And it turns out he gets like 5 minutes of screen time total. So, you know, I don't know, kind of would have liked Lionel better than the guy they chose. Not gonna lie.
Yeah.
I think the car scene in the beginning, although it does lay out the groundwork for why he's so obsessed to get back, I felt it was dragged out. Like, you know, you didn't need the whole after the father gets hit and lying on the ground and everything like that. You almost could have just had him back and have him freaking out in the car and moved on.
Mm-hmm.
And it still would have laid out the same groundwork that the dad thinks the kid's a little shit and not worth anything. I mean, I don't know. I think that in the beginning, you know, once, as we were talking about, once he gets the powers, it's like there's no real clear explanation for what he's going to do, especially when there isn't a champion yet. You know, he's kind of sent out to go get revenge on his dad, and that's all there is to it. There's, you know, he doesn't have a reason or a purpose that's given to us, and it would have almost been nice to have something that he needed to do besides killing his dad, and then in the middle of trying to do that, he finds out about a champion, so then it kind of leads to, you know, these are what the 7 deadly sins want, and maybe when they find another host, we can see where they'll be going afterwards, so that way almost the 7 deadly sins are left with this unfinished business besides just killing people.
Yeah, for whatever reason.
Yeah. So I think he did a good job, and I think, you know, they did a good job with the eye and kind of making it look, you know, like the light that he stole and all of that,
Yeah.
but that there just wasn't quite enough depth.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think that he's better than some of the worst films we've got in comic movies before, but I don't think he's anywhere near what we've got recently.
It's what's his name? Like his villain name?
Dr. Savannah.
I mean, it's better than Ocean Master.
I don't know. It's. I think they're a little on par. Then you got Black Manta in there, who's great. But
I don't know. I physically laughed in the theater. So
fair enough.
So when Shazam was, or the bad guy, Dr. Savannah, was in there and he was walking towards that orb to take it, why didn't Shazam just blast him with the lightning bolt before he could grab it?
Like the old Shazam wizard?
Yeah,
I think
he did it after he grabbed it. He literally just stood there and was like, I remember you, and let him go take it.
Yeah, I don't know. It was because he needed to grab the orb for the plot, right?
he was like losing his powers. Probably took some time to like build up the electricity.
But he managed to conjure it after he took the
Yeah,
orb.
you got to build it up. He's old. You gotta...
I think for me that's where like the kid movie aspect comes in, because I feel like when people talk about stuff like Toy Story, Monsters Inc., when like if it's animated or a kids movie, to me I never say a kids movie, those are kids movies. I say those are family movies or movies that are maybe more geared towards kids, but anyone could watch them. They have lessons for adults. When you say to me the term kids movies, that's when stuff like that happens, when it's just it's the stuff that in most of these movies, you hope the best comic movies, is really fleshed out and every little angle is looked at. Like a look at Thanos, like every little thing is planned out. With this guy, it's just, why didn't he stop him? I don't know, because the wizard chose not to stop him, Maybe he couldn't fire up a bolt at that point. I don't know, but I feel like the movie does that a lot, where it's just, why are we doing this? Why is this happening? Okay, it's just for a bad guy to chase this kid down. Okay, let's do that, All right.
There's a lot of Power Rangers vibes in this movie, I'd say.
Like the newest ones, or just in general?
In general.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Taylor, have you anything to add on the villain other than the car scene that you just weirdly brought up?
Yeah, no, I think there were many moments where it was funny, like when he was far away and he was talking all
That
doing
was
his
great
villain
scene.
speech. But yeah, he was just
eat on your heart. And I can't hear you.
yeah, he was creepy though at some points when he got the staff and everything, and I couldn't actually tell the difference between the sins. Obviously I knew like the gluttony one, but like the only one that I really paid attention to was the one with the wings. I thought he was badass. So yeah, I couldn't.
Do you even remember what he was though?
If badass was a sin, that's what he would be.
Do
Do you know which ones are which?
No, I have no idea. I'm not a big Shazam fan, and I also think even as a Shazam fan, it's just they're not fleshed out that much. It's just they're so gray, and they just kind of all blend together. They're just blobs of evil gargoyle looking things, you know. So,
Well, because the one that we don't see is Envy, right? So that's the one that stays
Till the
inside
end,
of it stays inside of him. Well, it was Greed is the one with 4 arms because he let Greed kill his dad because of the greed that he had trying to collect money. You guys are really helpful in fleshing this out. Thank you.
like the rest of them?
Yeah, Gluttony is the one whose like stomach comes open.
I forgot that Greed was the armed one until you said it. I
makes
literally
sense. I
cannot
used to grab
remember.
everything.
I cannot, and I don't even remember what they look like. I remember the winged one.
What
and I
about the guy
remember
with the
Gluttony.
tongue?
Oh yeah.
See,
What was him?
Yeah, see, I didn't remember that until you said that. And the other guy I remember is Envy. I've forgotten these characters just because I feel like they look so similar. What was the guy with the tongue? Lust.
I could see it actually. Really?
I'm
Because
trying to remember. Because yeah, Shazam was like, oh, lust. I thought it'd be someone who's much more like hotter, right? That's what he said
Yeah.
in the movie.
I'm gonna be no help here because I have no remembrance of these.
Okay.
Envy looked just like another one. I think there were 2 or 3 of them that looked like so very much alike. But then there was that one. Was it the tongue one that had like skinny arms for legs and was walking on like a gorilla stance?
okay, Travis is really helpful here.
I said I would be no help whatsoever. I have no. It's a blur. Those 7 deadly sins are a blur. I remember they're fighting at the end. They kill that guy's dad. I remember they all have like Sauron voices of like, "Rah, rah, rah." But that's about it. I think they're just super. They're just because they gave them a name. They're just goons. That's all they are. They're just
Goons.
they're just the children of Thanos, but less fleshed out.
Would you say this is a religious movie?
No.
Oh, but I guess you could try and make it that way. Like there is religiousism in them because like the 7 deadly sins. But until I'm sure Jessica's looking up more, do you have anything more to say on the villain?
No, we can
Okay.
move on.
Where do we want to jump to next? I liked the family. I thought that all worked out well.
So I just want to say, even in the comic books, they look way different. Like
Are they more colorful?
well, not just that, but they actually have different shapes, and some are human looking.
It would be
and-
nice if they did that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Because I always thought they were a lot more colorful in the comics. That's how I remembered them. Like I said, not a big Shazam guy. I'm not gonna be able to drop the knowledge on you here. But yeah, the Foster family, I liked them all. I found a lot of those jokes for me. That's what didn't work. All the kids, just none of it really worked. The foster parents, and I don't know. And especially. I don't know. I felt like it didn't, and that's why I have to ask you, your guys' theater. My theater experience, I felt like it was kind of the same. I felt it was. I think people laughed more than I did, but I think it just those jokes didn't really hit out of the park. It didn't remind me of some other comic movies where I might be laughing all the time. So, but I like the family dynamic. I like the brother relationship that Billy and Freddie had. Yeah, I thought that was it all worked. Good emotion. So I liked it, but I didn't love it.
we're talking about the family dynamic.
Yeah, family, foster family, the whole deal.
I thought it was kind of painful in the beginning. I think it got a little bit better towards the end, but I think some of the jokes that they tried to land with it weren't fleshed out enough. You know, almost like the jokes that they were making are supposed to be based on these preconceived notions we have of these family members that we didn't get developed.
Yeah, very stereotype ones, or very jokes I felt were kind of dated in a way, you know, like I just felt like they
like
were
Taylor's nickname.
well, yeah, when you watch an old movie and you're like, okay, these jokes kind of worked back then, but today they don't really work. So
Yeah, honestly, like I don't even remember their names or.
see, that's how I am with the sins. Taylor,
Yeah, the family was good. I love the Walking Dead guy in there as the dad. That's always pretty
Oh
hype.
my
The
god.
Walking
He
Dead
was Walking
guy.
Dead like years ago.
No, he's still in it.
Is he?
Yeah.
Who are we
Oh,
talking
then I
about?
forgot. The dad.
King Ezekiel's faithful.
Oh,
like,
right, you're right.
protector or whatever. Yeah.
It's past your time when you stop watching. Or
Okay.
you still watching?
No.
Yeah, it's way past
And
that. Yeah.
what character is he in Shazam?
He plays a foster dad.
Yeah.
He's the Hawaiian guy.
Definitely did not see him in Walking Dead.
Oh yeah, no,
Fair
he's,
enough. Yeah, you're right.
He's fantastic.
So Taylor was in love.
Oh, he's a great actor. I love him. He's always playing like the cheery, happy dude, and I love characters like that come in, they're cheery and happy, and fits right in with the dad jokes kind of thing. He's cracking those dad jokes. I'm all about this character right now. So he's super good, and the family was good. I mean, I don't know. I feel like if I was like Billy's age and I had a brother like Freddie, he'd kind of piss me off a little bit. Because he's like always up in your face yelling at you and stuff like, would you have flight or invisibility? Like, buddy, I don't give a shit.
Wow. Taylor's not going to be a good foster brother.
No, I wouldn't be.
What do you feel about the Shazam family kind of at the end? Obviously, that's a big reveal. And that's the one thing I would applaud the movie for, that at the end. I think the fight scene, I said in the non-spoilers, was too long at the end. But I did like that it was something different. I am surprised that they did it in the very first movie because I thought that's something they'd hold off on. But clearly, so, they all get the powers. They're all Shazam. What did you think about that kind of twist?
So... like, was that only for them? All they have to do is say Shazam. That's what all of them have
Going
to say?
forward, I
Or
think
like,
so.
was that only a one-time thing and they all lost the powers?
I think going forward, I would imagine for sequels it would be easier for them not to do that. But in comic books, that they can still become Shazam or have that power. So
okay, because when I was watching that and he broke the staff after, I'm like, well, how's he gonna turn into Shazam later on? Like,
but
'cause he
I
can
guess
do
the
it,
way that
but-
you could take it is once Billy touches the staff and says Shazam, he didn't need to keep touching the staff, right? He was already. So I think that's what we're supposed to take it as.
Weren't there 7 seats in the...
Yeah, they hint that at the very beginning about kind of, and Emily said that to me. She said, "Oh, that's how I knew that they were going to come at the end of the movie." I just didn't think you would do that first movie. I thought
No,
the first
but
movie would just be Shazam.
The question that I'm thinking, more than that is, aren't we still missing one person, one seat? And the staff's broken now? Because there was 7 true wizards or power, one power...
Because how many? We got Shazam, we got Billy, we got Freddy, we got Darla, we got
college girl
Mary.
College girl,
and gamer dude
gamer dude,
and other guy.
other guy. Yeah. Wow. Yeah, so I think that's 6. So yeah, I'm not sure who else is going to be in that.
Yeah, see, and he broke the staff. See, I was at the
There
end
might
of
be
it.
someone else with powers still out there,
Dr.
possibly.
Savannah.
Nope. I hope not. That's a weird dynamic.
I don't know. I just thought it was weird that they kind of broke the staff, and then there was never any reference to it at all. Again, just it's
like
done.
The staff of them having powers.
More the staff, like I just feel like if you had this all-powerful staff, like at the end, would you pick it up and take it with you, or like did it get left on the ground?
Well, because also if you think the way about it is, and this is why I'm not sure, because I know it's drawing inspiration from the New 52 comics, but I read those very little. The thing for me is, so if you start from just in the movie world, the wizard he's getting old and he has to pass his powers on, right? And he does that through the staff. So I imagine they got a long time before they age up until where they actually are. But then how would they pass their powers on to like a new chosen one, right? You couldn't really do that if there's no staff. I'm sure there might be a way to, if you look at the end credits, one of them is Dr. Savannah just writing a bunch of fucking formulas all over the place. So I'm sure they'll find some way to create a staff or make something. But it is kind of for me, it was strange that they didn't talk about them having the powers again after they were back to being kids. It was not mentioned. And that's why I did wonder, is it just for this fight? Because I feel like that... I feel like that's an interesting sequel then, as far as it's almost kind of Fantastic Four, like where it's going to be like this family dealing with powers. I also think it's a lot to juggle, but hey, if he feels he can do it, then I guess he can do it. So,
why did Shazam have the caterpillar, who's obviously evil?
Shazam the caterpillar?
Are we talking about end credits now? We're just jumping to that?
No. Like, because like I'm not talking about like the end. Like that's obviously you find out about his real kind of identity, that he's evil. But I mean, like in the at the beginning, like why does he even have the pet caterpillar? Like,
When did he first? I don't know.
Remember when Dr. Savannah got there as a kid, you could see the caterpillar in there, and then when he went there as an adult, the glass was broken after the attack. Or when Billy went there, the cage was broken, the glass was broken, and the caterpillar was gone.
I didn't catch that.
You didn't catch any of that? Oh,
No.
yeah, they highlighted it like a behind the scenes kind of like journey of this caterpillar, and then that's why he popped up at the end in the jail cell.
First of all, he's a worm.
Well, he's a worm.
And second of all, his name is
not.
Mr. Mind.
Mr. Mind.
I had to check it. I knew he's Mr. Mind, but I had to clarify that his species was a worm. He's actually an alien, to be honest.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I did not catch what you're talking about. So Billy at one
Really?
point has a caterpillar in like a cage.
No, like in Shazam's chain, like hideout, like lair.
Yeah.
Dr. Savannah, as a kid, when he goes in there, you can see as he's walking up to Shazam, like the old man, there's a glass container with the worm inside, and then past that point,
And they go back.
He goes back, and then when Dr. Savannah comes back as an adult and causes some ruckus with the sins or whatever, then you can see the glass container has been cracked and the worm is gone.
Oh, good for you. Yeah,
So-
didn't notice it.
Did not notice.
Yeah, there you go.
Really?
So I'll have to
Oh.
look on a second watch. But yeah, we'll talk about Mr. Mind in a second. You never told me what you thought about the family becoming like the Shazam family.
Yeah,
If you liked it or whatnot.
didn't expect it. Blew my mind. Like, do they all have different powers? Because like
They each
Freddy
got
was,
one
like,
of his powers,
Just one.
from what I could tell.
That's a good catch.
Adam Brody got flying.
Mhm.
The one guy got
I-
strength. He was holding up the Ferris wheel.
Yeah.
I
The
would
little
ass-
girl got the speed.
I would assume they all have some mini form of super strength though, so they can like punch like the deadly sins and stuff like that. So that guy that has the super strength, he might be the strongest, but I imagine like if there's a bad monster, they could still punch it and knock them out, right? Because they're pretty jacked and whatnot. Well, the suits are jacked.
No, that one guy, he's all freaked out about his guns because he definitely got that super strength.
Yeah.
See, but like Mary,
Mm-hmm.
I'm pretty sure her name's Mary, college chick. Like we never actually see her do anything, so I'm not sure what power she got.
I think she had super speed for some reason.
No,
No, that
that's
was
it.
Darla.
Darla, yeah, the little
Freddy
girl.
called her out for that.
Right. Yeah, her name was Mary, but there you go. So they have, which is a strange thing because Shazam didn't get. Well, maybe he only got 1/5, only some of the powers of the wizard. So,
Well, it's probably a bit of foreshadowing that we don't know all of his powers too, right?
Yeah. He's
yeah.
still obviously got a lot of potential because that's what they kind of hinted at. The 7 deadly sins at least teased towards that.
Maybe Mary's just bulletproof.
And the others aren't.
like,
That was actually a really good scene though when he was in the store and like
Shoot me in the face.
I knew it was coming because it was in the trailers obviously and I thought I hate that when they show good scenes in the trailers and then it takes the fun out of it in the movie, but they built on that so much more in the movie that I really enjoyed it. Yeah, like all the shots and shoot me again. That was really funny. Yeah. The family overall though, they're a good happy bunch, very supportive of each other.
and did you like the Shazam family thing?
Yeah, I got excited when they all turned into Shazams. That's when it definitely felt like Power Rangers, and I thought like, holy crap, like now they're obviously gonna win. But like, I do disagree with when he broke the staff in half. I'm thinking, yo, you got a layer, just hide that up in there.
Yeah.
So-
Technically, did he have a layer at that point?
No, but he
So-
could have hid it in his room. I mean, this is an ancient staff. So
well, that's a little dangerous. Yeah, like I said earlier, I was surprised that they pulled that card. I was so happy Adam Brody was one of the Shazams, and he's perfect casting for Freddy. And the other reason as well, because in the very first Justice League movie, Justice League Mortal, that they tried to get made years ago, he was cast as the Flash, and I always thought he would have been a perfect Flash. So I was happy to see that he got that. I hope that he does, if they do bring the Shazam family back, which I am hoping, because it is something different they can play with. I'm excited to see more of him. The other people, there's some people I recognize, but that was the one from I like him. I've seen him on OC, but really it was just like a fanboy thing of, oh, good, he's finally getting to play a superhero, and he's kind of not in the limelight. So that's awesome. And I guess I want to talk about next as far as like those surprises. I liked all the Batman and Superman references with the Batarang, with the bullet, with the convenience store, the toy store where he throws Batman.
I'm Batman.
Like, get him, Batman. Like, that was great. All the shout-outs to Superman, everything like that. I am very disappointed that I do feel this movie confirms that Henry Cavill is definitely done as
Yeah.
Superman, because I gasped when they're like, oh, I brought a friend, and I'm like, oh my God, it's him. And then I see him walk out, you see the S and everything like that, and it still works for the movie. It's still good. But the fact that it wasn't Cavill's face, that shows they're kind of done. And the rumors were that he was supposed to film a cameo, and I think the way it kind of went down is he was like, they were talking about the cameo, and he said, oh, then what's next? And they're like, well, we don't have any plans. And he's like, well, you want me to do this cameo? You don't have a movie plan for me? And they're like, no, not really. So he's like, fuck you, I'm not doing this cameo. That's kind of the rumor mill. So that to me was. Because I remember when Gwyneth Paltrow for a while wasn't in Marvel movies, and I was like, oh, I guess she's done. And then she just popped up in Homecoming, and I was like, okay, she's back for a little bit. I was really hoping that's what was going to be with Cavill, that there was these rumors he was out, it wasn't going to happen, and then he just pops like, oh, great, he's back. Because that was, even without Cavill, it's still such a fun scene. It's such a cool way to end the movie. And I like that the movie is still, it's not about this big crossover anymore, but it's still in that universe. Like Aquaman made only one mention of it, but this movie had a lot more of that. And like I said, it's maybe the company will be a little scared. Right now they said they're just focused on solo movies. But one day with Aquaman, with Wonder Woman, with Shazam, I don't know who else is coming up, maybe Green Lantern, but I feel that we could in a few years get a Justice League 2, but it'll have a new roster of people, and I would love to see Zachary Levi like mix up with Gal Gadot, Wonder Woman, or even that Aquaman end credit scene, they're taking shots at Aquaman, like it would be fun. So that's the thing of like, I love the soul things, but there's still part of me that I do want that connected universe. But yeah, so I'm sad probably Cavill is he's done. I think so.
Did you see that Zapped in America?
Yeah. There's some good. I liked all that YouTube stuff, the uploading and things like that. Especially seeing all those processing times as somebody that does this. It's like, oh boy, it's a bugger. But I liked that aspect of they didn't make him, and I guess we talk about Shazam too. As a kid, as Big Shazam, he wasn't an idiot. He just to me did feel like he was acting like a kid who had superpowers. They didn't make him too ignorant. They didn't make him just feel like he didn't know anything. It's like kind of what a kid would do. So I that's what I say in non-spoilers. I loved everything they did with him taking the money at ATM. They got the beer. The beer was gross. I got the Fritos. Like everything they did with Shazam, I thought that was the comedy that just nailed it 100% of the time to me. Catching the bus, some great stuff in there.
Yeah. I definitely agree. All of the kind of nods and stuff to like I'm Batman and all that stuff. Those are fantastic. And like I had a hunch that what if Superman's gonna pop up at some point in this? And I'm okay. Like I would have loved to have seen the face, but I think it would have pulled all the attention away. I don't think so.
I think not seeing his face pulls attention away because the first thing. Wouldn't you be lying if you said the first thing you thought after that was like, well, Henry Cavill's not coming back, right?
No.
You didn't think about that first thing when they don't show his face?
No, I just honestly, I just felt the excitement like, oh, wow, that was like really funny that they did that. I didn't think that he's not coming back. Like, and all I could picture was Freddy's face, like when Freddy was like kind of like chuckling, like, oh, he's finally showed like Shazam's here, he's doing
that was
thing.
good, yeah.
And then he's like, yeah, I brought a friend, and he like gasps when he sees this blue suit walking. That was so good.
Mm-hmm. As soon as that happened, I'll be honest, I turned to Matt and said, oh, I guess that we're getting a new Superman.
100%, yeah.
Like legitimately in the theater, we hadn't even had credits started yet, and that was what I said.
Because to me, it'd be different if Henry Cavill wasn't Superman. Like, let's say they'd never made a Superman movie in the past 5 years. You'd be like, oh, they're still trying to cast Superman, so whoever they cast will be that guy. But the fact to me that took away of like seeing his chest and just like cut up right there, to me that I liked it, but it took away of like, oh, like this feels like a discount cameo because you just know it's just some bodybuilder in a Superman suit. That's not Superman or a new Superman, right? So yeah, I like it because what are you gonna do? I think it's a fun take, and everybody else like I don't think Wonder Woman would fit in that scene. You're not gonna have fucking scary ass Batman walking into
Superman's.
He would love seeing all those kids. Look at all these orphans. He should be running a foster home. He loves adopting kids and bringing them in. Like why doesn't he foster?
He does in the Dark Knight Rises.
He does, and even in the comics he has like 10 kids, so it's crazy. Yeah. You anything else you want to talk about? You two, because I think I've talked about the villain. I liked all the Shazam comedy. The last thing I guess I'd show I like the Billy's mother leaving him when you see the the movie starting version. It's like nice and glossy, but then when you get to the actual her telling the story, you can see she's like run down. She's very kind of almost like a little annoyed by Billy because at first when it was just she left him, I was like, then that's a weird scene to make it seem like she was the greatest mother of all time. And then she just decided to leave him. So I liked that switch, and I really liked the scene with Billy and his mom when he found. I thought that kid was a good actor too. He didn't annoy me. Kid actors, they're kicking ass nowadays, you know.
Yeah, I know it was said before when you said it. I didn't really get to add on it at the time. I thought Adam Brody for sure was like the perfect choice for that. Good. And I definitely would like to see more of him kind of in this universe because I think that superhero role for him is just absolutely perfect.
And it's a perfect one too, where he can kind of like be a little cheesy and comedic. It's not like he has to, be a Superman or something.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So there was that. One thing I will throw out. So although I thought it was really long and it kind of needed to be cut near the end, there was that scene where Envy comes out of the guy at the end and he becomes a normal human.
Yeah, when he's mocking him and everything.
Yeah.
Like, they're like, oh, you too scared to play with the big dogs or whatever. Trash talk.
So
Taylor
then-
trash talk he's doing.
Taylor
Yeah.
So then Shazam takes, just the normal guy and goes back to the fair. And then you see Envy like, "Arr!" and,
Yeah,
and,
mad,
and
yeah.
and goes to run after him. And then there's just nothing about him again.
Mhm.
And I thought that was kind of silly, to kind of have him. It makes it appear like something else is going to happen, like he's going to chase after him and like jump at him while he's trying to rip the eye out or something. And I just felt like it was kind of a bad setup for nothing to happen.
Mm-hmm.
I thought he escaped, to be honest. Like I thought he was just
He clearly didn't, though,
his
right? 'Cause
statue
some
was there.
statues there, yeah.
Yeah, his statue was back. So
Yeah.
there was that. There was definitely, as I've said, some questions I have about, the broken staff and there not being quite enough of the family
Mm.
to like match up. Obviously there's something with the 7 deadly sins and the 7 heroes. Obviously that's going to play into something in the future.
Mm-hmm.
I have already stated I really like the humor in this movie. I think most of it landed for me. It wasn't like you where a bunch of it was a miss. And I know, watching it again, I think there'll be even more that you can pick out because there was a couple times I noticed, like, I laughed in the theater. The worm. There was times when I laughed when I noticed no one else did.
Mm-hmm.
So there's obviously times when other people noticed things I didn't too as well. So I would like to go and see it again. Like as I said, I'll probably take my family. I think this is a great family movie for kind of,
100%.
The preteens and that younger kind of age group. This, almost 15.
Mm-hmm. It's
that
good right before
age.
Endgame, too. Like, Endgame's going to be a super serious comic movie in a month. It's like a nice, like, kind of, appetizer. Like, just have a good fun time with the family and kids.
Appetizer.
And,
happy time.
Oh, boy.
And yeah, I do think this movie ran a little long. I know I said that in our non-spoilers. I don't think I've had a chance to say it here. I think this could have been cut down to a slick 2 hours, even a little less. That being said, I think the kid actors did a good job for kind of their first movie and kind of making their debut. And I can see what you were saying about there is a bit of disconnect between how Billy acts and how Shazam acts. But that being said, just looking it up, apparently, Shazam has the power of all these gods. And one of them, is like courage and wisdom and things like that. So
He's the big cheese, as people call him in the comic books, yeah.
Yeah, so, you can kind of understand where that difference comes in. Yeah, I probably had other stuff. Don't remember. Overall, I think it's a fun movie. I think that, if you're going in just looking for something not serious, it's a good comic book movie. And it's a nice break from everything else. We've had so many comic book movies trying to build up these universes. And this one, it's just fun. You get lots of little Easter eggs in it. They do spend a lot of time building kind of the main 2 characters that you can tell are going to kind of continue on.
Yeah, because, like, obviously the college girl, she could be ridden off, right, and go somewhere and stuff. Even that one older guy, like the older kid that didn't talk the whole movie, he's a bit older. Like, a few of them could go. And even then, I think the reason why I kind of forgot when I was like, oh, I'm surprised they introduced him. One thing when they set up in the end credits is Mr. Mind. He's an alien, like that kind of worm guy, but he can control people telepathically. So I wonder if you'd maybe use some of these family members to be baddies, stuff like that, right? So now I kind of thought, why would they introduce him? But that could make sense if you almost have, like, let's say, like, I'd love to see, like, a cheesy Adam Brody be, like, the villain of the next movie, or be one of them, right? So... Yeah, so they can do that. Because I'm saying that because I don't have much to add on Mr. Mind. I know he's a thing that exists in DC Universe. I know he telepaths people, but the Worm is not one of my favorite villains of all time.
Maybe he gets that 7th chair.
I think the 7th chair is going to be for The Rock, to be honest.
The Rock?
So, yeah. Because The Rock is playing, they didn't do it, but The Rock is playing his like Joker, Shazam's Joker, called Black Adam. And they casted him like 6 years ago, and they've been trying to make a movie. I think with this movie, and they've said that they're going to do that in between. So I think they'll kind of play it off. I think Black Adam, unfortunately, is not going to be as much as a bad guy in the comics, because I think The Rock doesn't really want to play like a bad guy. I think they'll kind of make that maybe in the Shazam, if they were to introduce The Rock or the next one or one after that, it'll be kind of like that at odds thing, and then you come together to be friends. And he's very similar. He has powers like that. He can fly. So I have a feeling he's going to be that 7th person. He's like kind of already out there, I would assume. So yeah.
Okay. One other thing that it would be interesting, I don't know, that to look into or to see as far as the actors, but I know the guy, he's in Riverdale and 13 Reasons Why. Yeah, so he's in all these high school movies, but then he transforms into this character that's hanging out with all these like early
Adults?
30s. Yeah, and it's just, I don't know, the aging kind of seems weird to me because Darla's character, she didn't seem as, overly young.
No, she's in her 30s, Megan Good. She's been around for a while. So.
Yeah, so it's weird to me that all these characters have their different ages, but they all turn into the same age.
I agree with you. I didn't even think about that with him because even then, I think most people are probably 30s or up, where he is. Well, maybe, I don't know. Maybe I'll take a quick look and see if he's 30. Maybe he is, and we're just, maybe he's just still playing a high schooler, right? And we think.
And that's why I think that casting choice might have been a little weird because you do have the association with like a high school kid. So for me, that kind of missed. I do like the guy that they chose. I enjoy his characters that I've seen in Riverdale and 13 Reasons Why, but
he's 28.
Yeah,
so he's like, I think the reason I could have been fine with him getting rid of it if the kid was not so much older. If he was like Darla's age and was like, okay, so he's older, but he's still a little younger than the rest of them. Like if they're all 30s and he's 28, then I get that, right? But yeah, I agree with you now. I didn't even think about that, but now that you point that out, I do think he is a little too young for the role.
Yeah. It's good. I'm 27. I like being told that I'm too young for things.
Yeah.
Because this doesn't happen very often anymore. I'll let Taylor throw some stuff out. If I think of anything else, then I'll jump in.
Or do you got nothing?
You
You looked when she said that to you, very unprepared.
I pretty much said everything I need to say. Yeah, score sucked.
Yeah, I agree with you. I thought it was very generic. To me, it was like music choices were, hit and miss for me, but I think just the generic when they are doing like the epic fight scene at the end, none of it stuck with me. So
no, and even that felt a little like underwhelming. Like when they were flying and Dr. Savannah was flying, like, and it's from his perspective, and then you just see like Shazam isn't there on the other side of the building. I'm like, oh, now he's just gonna pop up and do a huge like smasher, but it slowly pans to the left. And Shazam's just there, like,
chilling.
Well, that was underwhelming. And then obviously that led up to the joke moment.
That's why though, right? That's the only reason you do that. You could have done something else, so like they missed each other or something. But yeah, it was just like to set up the punchline. So
I felt some of the, not just the fight scene music, but the music's around the house where it's like almost trying to be hip and with it, but the song choices that are like, current right now just didn't work for the scene itself.
Yeah.
Or they'd start playing these musics just like right before the family does their thanks for dinner. And then it kind of stops. And I'm like, we didn't really need that 30-second clip of nothingness.
You guys spent $1,000 for nothing.
Yeah.
Or they just got a discount. They're like, we got to use these songs. Okay, sure.
We purchased this a year ago
yeah,
now.
we got to use it. It expires in a month. Okay, put on Shazam. Okay, cool. Done. I gave it a 6.5 non-spoilers. That's my review. Taylor, what did you give it?
7.9.
Right. I forgot about that.
Oh,
Anything else before we get out of here? Anything else you want to shout out, or are we good to go?
Yeah, I think go see it.
Mm-hmm.
That second post-credit scene was really funny. I like the Aquaman shots.
I
Shout
do,
outs.
but I hate funny post-credit scenes. I'm over them. You know why?
But you got a serious one. You get a serious one and a funny one, so it's okay.
But what did they do, Taylor?
What do you mean?
They put the funny one at the end. Switch them. Put the funny one at the beginning.
No, they got to put the other one first because everyone leaves the theater.
No, I agree with Travis on this one.
Because what happens is when they put a serious one first, I go, well, the next one must be really good. And then it's
wow.
And because for a while in Avengers, I remember they were like 2 back-to-back serious scenes, but now Avengers all the time or Marvel is always like the serious and then comedic, serious comedic. And I didn't think the joke was that. I thought it was funnier than Captain Marvel's, but I didn't think it was that funny. Like, okay, they're making jokes with Aquaman. That could have been that to me felt like it was a scene in the movie, and they cut it, and then they just moved it to the end credit. Because they had already made jokes about Batman and Superman. So yeah. Oh, also love the end credits of the movie, like them like drawing like Shazam, like pulling Batman in a car and like flirting with Wonder Woman. Really, really cool credit. So good on you there.
I think there should be a reward for people who stay as well. Like you get your
It
joke.
was for Taylor.
I got my reward. I love that Aquaman stuff.
You got rubbed the right way for staying.
I was definitely rubbed in the right direction.
Oh God. Taylor, where can they find whatever else we're doing in April? Endgame is coming up in April, less than a month away when this comes out for drops. But Taylor, where can they subscribe and do all that good stuff?
Ladies and gentlemen out there in the Geekverse, you can subscribe and find all of our handy-dandy stuff in the search bar with your internet connection. Just go into Facebook, type in Geekverse Space Podcast in that search bar, and just hit the one that has the nice green logo. It's a GV, can't miss it. And then you're going to click on that, and you're going to get to this awesome page with tons of stuff. There's polls, there's facts, there's literally everything. You know, we got tons of stuff, tons of podcasts. You know, this obviously, if you're listening to it now, obviously it's on Patreon, but the non-spoilers review, you know, like make sure.
I think if they're listening to it now, there's no point in listening to the non-spoilers.
Yeah.
But you know, it's just different
You
perspectives.
just got to go tell them to check out the Googs.
The Googs, yeah, get
Oh,
on that
no.
Googs. We're
I don't want that to be
all
a
over
thing.
the Googs.
So stupid. The Goops is stupid.
And don't forget to like and rate us and things like that. We're trying to get up to, hopefully by now we're at 200 reviews, but
It's tough.
I'm
to
not
get
holding my
iTunes
breath.
reviews. We're at 59 last time I checked, and that's after 3 years. It's tough, and I don't understand why it's tough. It takes a second out of your day. And be honest, if you don't think we deserve 5 stars, review us, but let us know some constructive criticism. Not you hate our guts or stuff like that. So.
Just a couple of brass.
we did get microphones now, so you guys can complain about our personalities instead of that.
Yeah, audio quality should not be a problem. So yes, in the description is where you got YouTube, iTunes, all the audio versions. So if you like what we do, please subscribe. Patreon, you get early exclusive content for $1. You get half it for $5. You get everything. We got tons of stuff. Me and Taylor just recorded a bunch of Clone Wars episodes. So until then, whenever you hear from us next, it'll not be boring.
Adios.